Is it ready?
Now it is.
Okay, thanks. Welcome everyone to this virtual plan amendment community meeting for NPA 2021-0011.01. Please let us know who you are by putting your name and if you're associated with an organization in the chat box. I will use this as the sign-in sheet for the meeting. Please mute your microphone if you're joining by phone. Please turn off your video if you're participating online to save bandwidth. And this meeting will be and is being recorded. So how to participate today. The speech bubble in the menu bar at the bottom or top of your screen will open the chat box where you can type in questions at any time. Please limit general comments until the end of the Q&A session. After presentations, you can click on the raised hand icon to be called on to speak. Telephone participants will be given an opportunity to speak and ask questions as well. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself. Mark will introduce himself, and then the applicants and the agents will introduce themselves. So my name is Maureen Meredith. I work for the City of Austin Housing and Planning Department. I'm the case manager for this plan amendment case, and I do all the plan amendment cases for the City of Austin. And Mark?
Good evening. I'm Mark Walters. I'm a principal planner with the Housing and Planning Department, and I'll be moderating tonight's questions.
And I'm Michelle Hausman with Land Use Solutions. I'm the applicant's representative, and Kayla Simon with Land Use Solutions is in attendance as well.
Okay. So here's my contact information, and the zoning case manager is Sherry Serwatis. Here is her information as well. The last screen on my presentation, we'll go back to this. If you wanted to write it down now or later, that's fine. You can always, if you want us to type it in the chat bar, we can do that as well. So first, for tonight on the agenda, I'll go over the basic case information, how to participate in the process. Why is there a plan amendment application? What is a future land use map? I'll do my staff presentation, then Michelle will do her presentation, then we'll open the floor to questions and answers. So the property addresses are 901, 903, 905 East 53rd and a half Street. It's approximately 0.75 acres. The case number is NPA 2021-0011.01. The project name is mod 53.5. The request is to change the future land use map from single family to mixed use. The associated zoning case number is C14-2021-0034. The request is to change the zoning from SF3 NP to multifamily 2 NP for condominiums. The property owner and applicant is Timmerman Properties and North Loop Rentals LP. Michelle Hausman is the agent for the Land Use Solutions is the company. So guidelines for discussion, please feel free to type your questions into the chat at any time during this meeting. Please postpone general comments during the Q&A session. After staff and applicant presentations, if you would like to speak, please raise your hand by clicking on the hand symbol on the menu bar. Telephone participants will be given an opportunity to speak during the Q&A session of the meeting. We will call out the last 4 digits of your phone number. If you wanted to ask questions, you can then proceed. Attendees will be muted upon arrival and through the staff and applicant presentations. Then the staff will open the floor to questions in the chat or by attendees raising their hands to speak. Similar questions may be grouped and answered together. Please mute your microphone when you're not speaking for the sake of sound quality and clarity of conversations. If you're having trouble with your connections, please turn off your video until called upon to ask your questions. If you have questions after this meeting, they will be answered and made available by request within 5 business days and posted on the Speak Up Austin website that you see here. This is also where we will post the recorded meeting. You can email me and Sherry anytime with any questions or comments. If you provide written comments, we will add them to the staff case reports. You will get a notice in the mail of the date and time of the Planning Commission and City Council hearings if you live within 500 feet of the property, and it will explain how you can participate in these public hearings. This case was noticed for the January 11th Planning Commission hearing to keep the case alive, and it was postponed to the February 8th Planning Commission hearing. New notices will go out for the February 8th Planning Commission hearing with instructions on how to participate virtually, which is a new thing that the planning commission is going back to. So the new notices will be sent for February 8th. So why is there a neighborhood plan amendment application? So neighborhood plans are adopted by City Council as amendments to the Imagine Austin Comprehensive Plan. The city charter requires zoning changes to be consistent with the comprehensive plan. Most plan amendments are changes to the future land use map, and most plan amendment cases have an associated zoning application. This map shows the areas in blue that have City Council approved neighborhood plans, most of which have a future land use map. This is just a document. The North Loop Plan document has the vision and goals and recommendations of the North Loop neighborhood plan. And this is the future land use map for the North Loop planning area. So these colors represent broad land uses, and there are specific zoning districts that are considered consistent with these broad land uses. So the existing land use on this property is yellow, and that represents single family. The proposed is brown, which is mixed use. And this chart shows the zoning districts that are considered typical zoning districts that would be found within these broad land uses. So the existing zoning on the property right now is SF3, and it has the yellow land use. The proposed is MF2. MF2 is considered a compatible land use within the mixed use land use category, and it would be if it were approved by City Council, it would change to the brown land use. So this is the property with the future land use, showing it as single family, 3 lots. This is a Google map that just shows some of the surrounding land uses. Some commercial businesses and some of the uses surrounding the property, especially along Airport Boulevard. This is just an aerial photo from our property profile. This is the future land use map. The yellow represents the single family land use. The brown is the mixed use land use. This is a zoning map that shows the property is SF3, and then some of the commercial zoning along Airport Boulevard. This is the Imagine Austin growth concept map, and the property zoomed in that shows where it is in relation to that growth concept map. So you can see Airport Boulevard to the left is a commercial corridor, and the property is just on the edge of the Highland Mall Station Regional Center. This map shows the public transportation in proximity to the property. That ends my presentation. I will exit out and let Michelle start her presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Maureen. Very good presentation. I will pull mine up on the screen and until everyone can see it. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes, okay, perfect. I have 2 screens and I try my best not to get confused, so I will start the presentation. So again, I'm Michelle Hausman representing the applicant. Let me click on here. So here is the development team. So Timmerman Properties and North Loop Rentals, they are the property owner and the developer. Cantegra Developments, Sean Ryan is their partner in the development process. Urban Foundry Architecture as the architect, David Carroll. He was actually the chair of the Design Commission in Austin for many years. Civilitude is the civil engineer, Not Ho, and Land Use Solutions, Kayla and I are part of the rezoning and community engagement process. So the proposed development and requests, and thank you, Maureen, for going over all of the zoning and the land use. The proposed development is a 13-unit residential community. The neighborhood plan is amendment request is single family to mixed use, the yellow to the brown, And then the rezoning is SF3 NP to MF2 NP. Our original request was actually MF6, and I can go through a bit of history on that, but through our work with the North Loop contact team, as well as the planners and reviewers at the city, we were able to amend our request in December to MF2 NP. So that is the current request. So this is a bit of a timeline. So this is what's called an in-cycle neighborhood plan amendment. So all properties that are west of I-35, you can submit. It's February, and due to COVID, March was the actual application date. So we submitted within the time frame that is required by the code. And prior to that, I reached out to the chair of the neighborhood contact team to inform him of the proposal. And so from March through April, the consultants worked up a conceptual site plan, and we presented to the North Loop contact team in April. And then between April and September, we did our work with the city staff and thank them for all their time and hard work with us to review the site plan to determine what type of multifamily district would work for the particular request. And then that was determined in September. So we went back to the contact team, and their next meeting was in November. And so we presented to their group at that time. And we were able to present the amended multifamily 2 zoning request. So here's just a location map that we can go back to if there are questions regarding adjacent uses. So catty corner across the street, as the neighbors, I think that are on the call know, the Travis Flats, Diana MacGyver, it's 146 unit multifamily project on Travis County land. And then there's also an office building on that property as well. Adjacent to us is Child Inc., who is a commercial owner, and some other commercial tenants throughout that property all the way to Airport Boulevard. And we did meet with Child Inc. as well. And then single family surrounding the rest of the sides of the property. Here's the map that Maureen just went over, so I don't think I need to go through that. And then here you'll see the LRCONP is a commercial district that the Child Inc. property is located on, and then CSCO is a commercial services district, and LOCO is also an office district. So we have several different commercial districts to our west. And we view this as a transition from the commercial districts to the single family districts to the east and south. So again, it's 3/4 of an acre, and we're proposing 13 for sale urban infill homes. The unit types are 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath with an attached garage, 2-car garages. And the unit size is between 1,500 and 1,600 average square feet. The construction, the units will be attached, and I have a site plan that I will show you. The height is of the 13 units is 3 stories and 34 feet in height. So basically that 34 feet is equivalent to a single family 2-story home. So this is an image that shows the site plan layout, and it is facing north. So here along the eastern boundary adjacent to Child Inc., we have 5 units that are attached. And then across from that, you have these 4 units back to back attached on these 2 locations. And you'll see here the Child Inc. is these white boxes back here. So this is looking down 53rd Street and how they will be configured on the site. And originally, when we had an MF6 plan, we had more of a typical single family, two structures here, and then additional units that we have today. But this is the plan that we presented latest to the North Loop neighborhood contact team in November. And they did issue a support letter on December 5th, and I did present that to Maureen and Sherry. And so that is basically the conclusion of our presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
So we have 3 folks from the community here. If you would like to raise your hand by hitting the little smiley face thing and raising your hand, I can call on you and you can ask any questions you might have of the applicant or staff. If not, it can be a really short meeting. So, well, I'll just go down the line and see if anybody has questions. David, do you have any questions at this time?
None for me, thank you.
Okay. Bill Poe, do you have any questions at this time?
Actually, I think I do, and I guess make sure my audio is working to begin
We can
with.
hear you.
Everyone hear me? Okay, great. So what, if any, assurances are there that if the FLUM and the zoning get changed, that this proposed development actually happens, as opposed to, say, a scenario, and a lot of neighbors have pointed out this concern, that the Timmermans just turn around and then sell the property for a completely different development?
Okay, so and I thank you, Billy, for raising that question. We did discuss that for everybody on the call on our very first meeting that we had with the North Loop Contact Team in April. And we had proposed an MF6 NP development, and that had 90 feet in height, which this is only 34 feet in height. And it had a lot of more or less restrictive zoning requirements. You could obviously build taller. And so what I had proposed at that time was to limit it with a conditional overlay to the MF3 district. And now, Billy, we've had the ability now to redesign the site. We lost a unit and reconfigure it to where it's down to MF2. And so based on the MF2 proposal, this is the result of working with Christine Barton Holmes over, she's the planning officer over the site planners. And she looked at the site and this fits within MF2. So does that, and so for example, the height. So MF2 allows 40 feet in height. These particular structures are 34 feet in height. We could add a conditional overlay if that would be something that would be of interest to you. But basically, we took a lot of time with the city staff to ensure that this was an MF2 plan.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Maureen, you have a question.
Yeah, so let me just understand. So when I present this to my team, are you saying that you are okay with a conditional overlay that limits it to maximum 13 units, maximum 35 feet?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Bill, did you have any other questions?
Not at this time.
Okay, I guess the next person who's not a staff or applicant would be Melanie Walter Mahoney. Melanie, do you have any questions? Need to unmute if you do. If not, I guess not. Okay, Maureen, do you want to go over this next steps moving forward?
Yes, so I will present this case to my planning team. We will make a recommendation. The zoning planners will make their recommendation, and we will work with the applicant on, tell them what the recommendation is and then go from there. Then we will start scheduling the cases. Like I said, it's scheduled for February 8th. We don't have a city council date yet. If people in the neighborhood want to submit their comments to us to be added to the staff case report, let me pull up my contact information again. You can email your written comments to me and Sherry, and we will add them to the staff case reports. Let's see, let me think a minute here. So for February 8th, Planning Commission date, we have to submit our case reports on February 1st. So if you can get your comments to us by February 1st, by 4:30 p.m., they'll be added to the staff case reports that the planning commissioners get. If we get your comments after that time, we will submit them as late backup as a separate document, but it will not be added to the staff case report. So people who are on this call, on this meeting, if you want to take note of that and share that with your neighbors if they want to submit comments as well.
Before we go, does anybody else have any questions? If not, we can wrap it up and get back to our evenings. Well, seeing none, I'd like to thank you for spending some time to find out about this case. We do have another person waiting in the lobby. And to the person who just signed on, Lisa Lennon, we were wrapping the meeting up. But you didn't see the presentation, but if you have any questions of the staff or the applicant, we'd be happy to take them right now if you have any questions. If you would just unmute and if you have any.
Sorry, I was on mute. I just wondered if with this project, if they were going to add any additional parking, because this Travis County apartments that they put over here on the Travis County site at Airport and 53rd and a half is a mess. They didn't add any, they added a parking garage, but I guess not enough spaces for people to park because there's cars all over the place. There's trash all over the place. They didn't add any pet waste stations. And so I'm wondering if this project is going to follow suit.
Mark, would you like me to answer that?
Yeah, because I can't answer that.
Perfect. Hi, Lisa. My name's Michelle Houseman with Land
Hi.
Use Solutions, and I represent the applicant on the project. Thank you for joining us. And I'll share my screen. Would that be okay, Maureen, if I share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Okay, everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so just real quick, the property, the subject property is here highlighted in blue, and you're exactly right. It is catty corner to the Travis Flats 146 unit multifamily development. And that's on Travis County land, and it was developed by Diana MacGyver. She's a good developer. And how this site plan will be laid out, I will show you here. There are 13 for sale urban infill homes. They're 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath, which all have attached garages, 2-car garages. They average 1,500 to 1,600 square feet, and they are attached, and they are about 34 feet in height. So to answer your parking question, each one of these units has their own two full-size car garage for parking. And so we don't anticipate any issues with exacerbating the parking problem, but I do understand that that is a new development and people have just moved in. And so you may be seeing more people parking on the street due to it, but I'm not quite sure if that's what the issue, where that's coming from.
No, I'm just concerned that there's not enough infrastructure to support all of these units with the addition of that Travis County or the Travis Flats. I mean, this area is already overburdened with traffic, and I just wonder what they're going to do. There's no sidewalks. There's no sidewalks in this neighborhood. People have to walk in the street. And so additional units with a lot more people just means more of the same. Traffic, pet waste, and I'm just concerned that there's just, they're over this, this infrastructure is not supportive, would not support all of this.
Sure, I understand. And one good thing that the architect pointed out, David Carroll, he indicated that this particular project, when it's developed, will have to build a sidewalk on 53rd and a half Street. So that infrastructure will be put in with this development.
Okay, well, that's a plus.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a question comment from Melanie is there no visitor parking? Is it just for the residents, or will there be a spot here or there where visitors park?
So I'll go back to the site plan. Hello, Melanie. So there's a handicap parking space on site. So the David, the architect, when he laid this out, all of these units and the type of units that they are and what they qualify for under the city code, they're one space over parked, actually. So they're not taking any parking reductions or any, I know there's an urban core reduction that you can take. So this is actually one space over parked.
And that would be the handicap space.
That's right.
So no visitor parking, is that what I'm hearing you say?
There's no visitor parking within the site, but a visitor could certainly park within the garage. So the city code is set up to accommodate that.
Okay.
And does anybody else, before we sign off, I know Lisa came in late.
I'm sorry I'm late. I was
That's
trying to
fine.
get connected.
It was a low attendance and it went by pretty quick. And if you have any more questions, we can happy to answer them. And I think you missed part of Maureen's what she was saying, that if you want to contact her, and we can throw up her contact information on the screen for her, who's the case manager for the plan amendment, and Sherry Serwatis, who's the case manager for the zoning case. And if you'd like to leave any comments with them to be included in the staff report, they would need to be back to Maureen by the 1st of February. After that, they would be given as backup, excuse me, but they would not be included in the same document. So just, they'll all the commissioners, the decision makers will have access to it. They just will be in multiple documents. That's I think what Maureen was trying to impress upon us.
Is there
So-
a site plan that's been developed, or is just are you just showing the lot?
Yeah, so I'll share my screen again real quickly, or Lisa. Can you see the screen here?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so Lisa, what our process was is we started back in March of last year when we filed the application, which it's called an in-cycle plan amendment. And we filed the zoning case and the site plan concurrently. And when we started the process at that time with the North Loop Neighborhood Contact Team, which is the city neighborhood contact team, we presented to them in April, and then we presented again in November. And between April and November, we actually redesigned the project to what you see today. So this conceptual site plan, we worked with the city planning officer, Christine Barton Holmes, to with the architect and civil engineer to ensure that this plan meets the MF2 zoning district requirements. And so we've done, typically in a zoning case, you don't do this much work up front. But in this case, we wanted to take our time and have the opportunity and thank the staff for their hard work working with us to be able to lay out this plan. So this is the plan that is moving forward with the zoning case.
Okay. Is there, because it just looks like a site plan. It doesn't look like any sort of stormwater treatment or any landscape or any of that kind of stuff has been developed. And I understand that is in schematic design, but are there any of those kind of features that you're planning on to deal with the stormwater and the runoff?
Oh, sure, absolutely. So when the site plan is submitted to the city, the civilitude is a civil engineer. So they will definitely have to take that into consideration and meet all the city stormwater requirements, water, wastewater requirements, landscape requirements. Yes.
Okay, because the Travis County, I mean, I'm sorry, I have to keep using these apartments as an example, or a bad example, I should say, because the landscaping was not done very well, and it didn't take into consideration all of the parking that needed to occur outside of the parking garage. And so that's why I'm sort of hypersensitive on some of these new projects that are going in on this neighborhood. I hope you can understand that.
I completely understand. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate y'all's waiting for me to get my technology going.
Oh, for sure. Thank you for joining. We appreciate it.
And if you know of anybody else who might want to see the presentation who hasn't, it'll be posted on the Speak Up Austin webpage for neighborhood plan amendments. And you can just Google just what I just said, Speak Up Austin neighborhood plan amendments, and it'll be there, be posted within a day or three, usually by tomorrow or the next for the
Okay.
week. And so
Okay.
this will all be posted, and anybody who couldn't make it tonight could view the presentation from staff and the applicant.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for going through your site and re-explaining it to me since I was late. I appreciate it.
For sure, Lisa. And the staff has my contact information. They can share it with you and happy to, have any additional conversations.
Okay, I would appreciate that, knowing if you had an email or
Yeah,
way to
Marie,
contact me.
yeah. So
I was
you
gonna
can-
say, y'all, Michelle, if you want to type it in the chat box, you can
Oh,
do that
sure.
real quick.
I'd be happy to.
if you go and open the chat, Lisa, it'll be right there.
Okay, I will do that.
Give her a
Apologies,
second
amazing.
there. So for Lisa, this is scheduled to go to the Planning Commission on the 8th of next month. You'll be receiving a new notice, and either as last week, council passed an ordinance that kind of more liberal or made, you don't necessarily have to be in person to give testimony to the Planning Commission starting, I think, in February, particularly with COVID numbers being what they are this week.
Right.
So, so that's one less obstacle. If people want to participate, they don't have to feel concerned about going into a building and being around lots of other people.
I understand that. I appreciate it. So, okay. Well, thank you so much for your time and explaining this to me, and I look forward to the updated plan, looking at it.
And you got the contact information?
Michelle at landusesolutionsTexas.com.
Okay, sounds good. Well, if there are no more questions, and if nobody pops in at the last second, we can call the meeting and we can get on with the rest of our evening and have a pleasant rest of your day. So with that, we can call the meeting. So good night, everybody.
Good
Thanks.
night.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Don't
Stop
forget to
it,
stop
okay?
the recording. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.